Well, you see, today's world's full of babies and sissies. Everybody's afraid to touch anybody, and you can't push anybody, you can't say anything nasty about anybody. Wrestling's one of the few sports you can actually grab somebody and hold them, okay? I have a 6-year-old grandson who I'm teaching to wrestle, and I'm showing him, I said, when you grab that arm, that's not his arm anymore, that's your arm now, okay? So wrestling teaches you to be tough. It just does. I don't care if you're 103 pounds, okay? Wrestlers, you can walk around and not be afraid. So there's no other sport that really does that. I mean, there's nothing like it. You know, tennis, you're other side of the racket. Even football, you know, it's a team sport. You got shoulder pads, you got coaches. The rest, it's just you, and you have to be tough. I think Iammarino was actually good at that, teaching the kids. He intentionally pushed the kids around to make them tough. I remember he used to twist Barry Guinness in knots, and Barry became a very good wrestler. So it's the only sport, maybe boxing, but you know, boxing is dangerous. But yeah, wrestling teaches you to be tough. I think it's good for little kids to wrestle.
What is it that you want? Why are you here? Anybody that comes into this room can be a state champ. As an athlete, you have to lay out, what are your goals? Do I want to just be on the team? Do I want to have a 500 record? Do I want to be varsity? Do I want to place at sectionals? Or do I want to be a state champ? And I was here a few years back. I asked all the guys that did a clinic. And so I said, guys, put your head down and close your eyes. How many of you are willing to do what it takes to be a state champ? I think they pretty much all of them raised their hand. I want to be a state champ, because everybody wants to be a state champ, or the best you can be. All right, you want to be a state champ. Let's see how hard you can run. And then I watched, most of the kids were like jogging. I go, that's not how you become a state champ. I said, so if you want to be a state champ, you have to be committed. You have to have the right mental attitude. You have to have the right physical build and endurance. You have to have the right technique. Get good sleep, eat good foods. So you got to be the whole package if you want to be the best. To anybody that wants to be successful, it's not easy, because to get up in the morning, and like I used to get here at 7 in the morning and go run 2 miles before school. I was like, why am I doing this? I said, and that wasn't that much, really, 2 miles, but hardly anybody did stuff like that back in the day. And then if you make that commitment, you could write your goals down and talk about your strengths, talk about your weaknesses, and go live your dream. Go for your dream.
It's just the basics. You know, you watch, like in my generation, Dan Gable was the GOAT, right? 3-time NCAA champion. People don't remember is that in 1972 was the Munich Olympics, the Munich massacre. But the Olympics took place, and Dan Gable, who really had no experience as a freestyle wrestler, he goes to the Olympics that year and he wins a gold medal. Now, part of freestyle wrestling is sometimes you give points to get points. No one scored a point on him. That is unheard of. That's like pitching 5 perfect games. So he did it with basics. If you watch what he does single legs and double legs, but he executes them so perfectly that you can't stop it. So I would say to a new wrestler, take a deep breath. Everything you've done in your practice room with your teammates is what's going to carry you through. Listen to your coach and do the best you can. It's all you can do. And don't look back. Enjoy the moment.
Wrestling makes people. It makes the core of an individual. It makes you into a good person, a good worker. What you have to do to become a wrestler and continue it and stick it out for many years just makes you a better person.
My advice to all future wrestlers and Bison wrestlers is they want to be there wrestling and have fun doing it. Good luck to everyone. Thanks.
That's a good question. You know, it's a new generation. It's as tough of a sport as it's ever been. It's still not a glamorous sport, and it's something that I just give them advice to stick it out and get those little victories that get you to the next step.
My advice would be to just love it. Whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter if you try to enjoy it, because I think if you really enjoy the sport, you're going to do well. You're going to persevere. And I would also tell them to work on all aspects of the game. Learn how to ride, learn the mat wrestling. That's one, learn mat wrestling. Learn how to ride, learn how to tilt. Watch Spencer Lee. He's the best.
Be prepared to get roughed up. Be prepared to be uncomfortable. Be prepared to push yourself beyond what you ever thought you could do, and you give yourself the best chance to be successful. And if you go through that process, even if you're not the most successful, even if you didn't make state tournament, or even if you didn't have a winning record, if you go through the process and give it everything you can, you will get what you're supposed to get out of it, which is the toughness, the ability to endure, to persevere, to take getting knocked down or beat up, get up and keep practicing and put yourself in a position to be more successful. You don't have to really win for that. That winning's a bonus.
Be all in. Don't just try wrestling. Do and be wrestling.
I think the sport of wrestling, if you let it grow organically and you go with it, you ride the wave, you become a much stronger person. You become stronger intellectually, you become stronger physically for sure, you become stronger emotionally, and I think you develop a lot of strength and a lot of knowledge from the sport. You understand how things work from the ground up. You feel like there's nothing you can't do because you have all the tools. The tools, you go find somebody who knows more than you about it, and you bring them in, and then you put your attitude and your hard work into it, and somewhere along the line you have the product. Wrestling does that for you throughout life, and life throws a lot of left hands and a lot of right hands and a lot of uppercuts. It's good to be strong so you can handle those when they come.
This is a hard sport. This is not a sport for everybody. I will tell you, I think everybody should try the sport of wrestling. This sport will make you stronger forever, mentally, physically, emotionally. There won't become an obstacle in your life that you'll be scared of. You have to go into it 100% and work hard, put extra time in. You can't get great at the sport unless you put a lot of extra time, and that means getting up early, staying up late, doing things during your free time to make yourself better. Just getting better each day. You can't worry about the wins and the losses.
Well, first advice I'd give you, and I've heard this so many times throughout the years of fellow, classmates and younger, students as well, is they always say, I really wish I wouldn't have given up. A lot of people do the sport and they, there's bumps and bruises along the way for everybody. I say just stick with it. I don't know anyone that regrets having stuck with it. I know so many people that regret, giving it up.
If you give wrestling a chance, it can pay off in so many ways down the line because it teaches you so many value lessons, and it really is the best sport in the world.
You have to learn from your losses. You have to know that there's a win in there in every loss. You have to know when you're a young wrestler that you're just putting all of your experiences in the bank for the future to pretty much cash in on it later. And sometimes it feels like you're not making improvements, but if you keep working hard, you'll look in the rearview mirror and see a lot of improvement.
When guys turning you to pin you, it's like you can't stop fighting. As soon as it's in your head that he's going to pin you, that's when he pins you. And life has you down as you get older. You get a lot of more difficulties than just in high school, but you just got to keep fighting. It's satisfying to fight off your back and win. So
have as much fun with the sport as you can and really focus on the connection that you have with your teammates and with your coaches and all the people around, because at the end of the day, that's the stuff that really matters.
Listen to your coaches. They have your best interest at heart. They've done it before. They'll show you the way, and you win with good people.
Work hard, learn, stay humble. It's not an easy sport, so you got to really put a lot into it to get out what you want.
Expect hard work. Expect to get beat. expect to lose and to be humble and be held accountable, but expect to have a work ethic.
Ask questions, learn as much as you can. The people that are there, coaching you, or your family, or even, some of us that graduated, 10 years ago from high school, we want Beachwood Wrestling to succeed, and we want you to, become the best version of yourself, whether it's on the mat or just in your everyday life. And so I reached out to a lot of people. I asked a lot of people questions and asked for advice, and they helped me a lot. So sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but, step out of your comfort zone and ask for some advice if you need it. And, just know you have a big community behind you. I'd say Beachwood does a great job with their wrestlers, and, we just want to help in any way we can. So I'd say.
Well, one, it's you get to be a part of an awesome tradition, an awesome program, an awesome culture that has, it's a really remarkable history with people in the district that really do care about you, and a relatively self-contained small district that you have the opportunity to be a part of something special and to really take advantage of that opportunity and to embrace it, and you won't regret it.
The best advice I could give to future Bison wrestlers is take practice seriously. Show up every day, give it your all, because if you do that, you're going to see yourself gain things that you've never imagined you could, both on and off the mat, and you'll also be able to just perform better, and you'll see a change in your lifestyle overall.
One thing I wish I could go back and tell myself is don't overthink it. I'm sure every coach I've ever wrestled for can tell you I overthought everything. Just go in and do it. Don't even think about, don't think 10 weeks ahead. That's all I can say. It sounds simple, but it's very true.
I know this is going to sound contrary. I don't feel like a kid has to wrestle to get these same things. I think it has to be environmental, and this is the right environment for any kid. Tall, short, skinny, chubby, it doesn't really matter. I think when a kid comes into this room, they're going to be better emotionally, mentally, physically. They're going to do things that they never thought they could do before. They're going to be challenged. They're going to be pushed. They're going to be loved. They're going to know they're loved. They're going to know that they belong to the team. They're going to feel good about themselves. And I think it's so funny. A custodian recently said this to me, which I thought was kind of funny because it was kind of random. Custodian goes, "Jimmy, you must be doing something right." I said, "Why?" Like I was like, they didn't look particularly good today, but sure. And he goes, "The kids that graduate keep coming back, and they keep being involved in the program." I think those are the things that a kid would get out of being here.
Never stop wrestling and have fun doing the sport. Wrestle during the summer. And if you play other sports, you don't have to commit to it, and have fun, and it's just a sport. Don't take it too seriously. It's not the end of the world.
Well, in this sport, you can't hide. Once you come through these doors and into this room, you have to be willing to work and put it in the time and the sacrifice that is needed in order to be successful. So if you look over my shoulder and up there at that wall, those kids put in the time, and every day when I walk in this room and I look up those names, I would say that for the most part since 1977, I've had an opportunity to watch all of those kids wrestle at one point or another. They mean a lot to this program, they mean a lot to Coach I, and they mean a lot to myself.
You give it your all, you give it time. And if in the end you realize it's not for you, I get that. I have recommended to kids to quit. And I know some of my guys, probably Ryan and Scott, would say, "You fight it out." No, that's too hard on people. Of course, we talk about discipline, you stick it out. Yeah, you try to stick it out, but if you can't, you can't. It's the toughest sport going. That's what I would tell kids. You got to test it. It's not just like, I'm going to be a big star wrestler. I can't say that. You have to go out there and try it, be encouraged, stick it out, yes. Because I've had kids who wanted to quit, and obviously maybe tell them, stick it out, and they ended up making state loving it. So it's a process.